Fall is here, guys. The leaves are changing colors and our gardens are going to sleep. So this is a perfect time to harvest your seeds and save them for next year. Today we're going to be doing marigolds to look at the best way to collect and save them. And if you have never been here before, my name is Marlene. Welcome to my home and garden channel. Now let's get to collecting those seeds. So these right here, these are my marigolds that I planted this year from seed, and they did so well. I was so pleased with how they turned out. And marigolds, they have a long blooming time. Typically they last anywhere from mid-spring right through the summer and into fall until the first hard freeze. And there are different types. Let's take a look at the first one. There are basically two types. This one would be the African marigolds, and these are very large. They can grow up to 3 feet in height, and the flower heads, they are pretty large. It can go up to 5 inches across. So they're mostly used like for decorative purposes, more ornamental than in the veggie gardens, but you can still use them there in that way as well. And now let's see how they compare to the other type. You also have another type that's called French marigolds. And the French marigolds, you can see that they are a lot smaller. The flower heads are not as wide, and they come in many different colors. So you can have like your, almost like a red shade. You can have like your bright orange colors, light orange colors, and different shades of yellow. Some of them may have a fewer row of petals, and some of them may be fluffed out and look really nice like these right here. And some of them are two-toned as well. This one right here, this is my absolute favorite for right now, and this would be the Lemon Petite. That's the one that I planted, and I love them. They came out so well. Now let's take a look at the reasons why you'll want to have marigolds in your garden. And the first reason is that they attract pollinators. And do we need our pollinators in our garden? We want them to come and pollinate not just our flowers so we can have more of them, but our fruits and our veggies so we can have lots to harvest in our garden. You can see we have butterflies and we have bees. This is a pretty little one that we had right here. Very gorgeous. The next thing about them is that they attract predatory bugs like your ladybugs. And your ladybugs, they actually help to keep away some pests that are harmful to your garden. So it's another good reason to have them. They also make very good companion plants for tomatoes. And I love growing tomatoes and peppers and all those other ones in that family. So they work on really well for them and many other plants that you will have in your garden. And these are looking so healthy both above and below the soil. And what I mean by that is that they help them below the soil in that the roots, they actually hold a compound that actually helps to keep away nematodes. Root knot nematodes, and those can wreak havoc on your plants, your potatoes, your tomatoes, your okras, your squashes. So it's good to have them as well for that reason. Now we tend to get rabbits in our yard from time to time, and they don't like it. So if it's near to other plants, they will not come close to it. The same is true also for the chipmunk that come. They don't like it. And so I just love this. We're going to go ahead now and harvest the seeds. So you'll get to see the step-by-step of how I did it. So first we'll need to get our basket, and I got some paper towel there and my pruners. And you always want to have nice sharp pruners. If that's something you need to update, I would definitely recommend clicking on the link below. We can get one of these or similar type on Amazon. It's nice to have them shiny and sharp and just great for your plants. It's also better for the health of your plant too when you trim them back with good ones. Let's go in now for a closer look and see what's going on with these seed heads right here. So you can see we still have a lot of them that are freshly blooming there, and we have some dried ones, and the dried ones are the ones that we want to go for. Main reason is it would have already been fertilized, so you know that when you get those, you're going to get seeds from those. The other ones may not have been fertilized yet, so unless you have really, cold weather coming and you have to harvest them, I would say just go ahead and, just wait until they dry out before you get them. So that's just my recommendation there. And this is what they're looking like so far. We're going to go in and get a few more. So let's just go in and trim them out. And this is actually a very relaxing part of gardening for me when I just go in and I take my time. Now, what I will say is that, they do have a strong smell. They're not sweet, like your roses if you've grown them before, or, like pansies and those sweet flowers, daffodils and so on. But the smell that they give off, it actually helps to keep those pests that we discussed away and other little animals that might come over and bother your plants. So, and they're very pretty, they do double duty. You can always mix them with other flowers, like I do from time to time. And it really is a good thing to have because there's so many, uses for it. It's not just for form, it's also for function. And just to show you guys, this is where it started from before, where I had sowed some in this little container right here because it was still cold out and I wanted to get going on them early enough. And I just planted them out when they were maybe like about 3 inches in height. And to me, it just, gardening just tells you of all the little miracles that we have in life. Because look at where they're starting from, guys. That little thing right there. And then look how, wonderful they became. So I'd say patience is a good thing in the garden to have, just give yourself a chance to, learn as you go, and you'll be surprised to see how far you get to. So this is what they're looking like over here right now. This is what I collected. I figured this was enough for right now. I'm going to give some of them to my sister as well, and my neighbor if she wants any. And I'm just checking them here, making sure everything looks good, and we're going to go ahead and get to the next step. Before we go any further though, just to say if you've never subscribed to my channel before, I do hope that you will hit the subscribe button and tap the notification bell twice so you can follow along with all of my flowers and my gardening that I do on this channel. We learn from each other, and I'm always, willing to answer any questions that you may have. So this is what we're going to be needing here. We'll just need to have a napkin, a sandwich bag, and our Sharpie marker. So this is how they're looking here, guys. I had them dry out for maybe like about 3 days. Highly recommended that you have them dry out first. And you just go in and take a look. Make sure they're a little crunchy. That way, they're really dry. And then go in and get your label going. And, I always try to label my stuff because sometimes you figure in the moment you're like, oh, I'll remember. But then a few months pass. Sometimes maybe you keep them for a year or two and you're like, what did I have in this again? And in this case, if you know what it looks like, it kind of, you'll pretty much know, but sometimes you may not know what color it was. So this one I'm putting in the name of what it is and the color. Some people even put the year on their labels as well, but I don't take it that far. But anyway, I'm just going to go in and place them in there. And the little napkin that I had, it was a perfect fit for the sandwich bag, so I just slipped it right in because when you have a lot of them, you want to be able to stack them together to save space. So this kind of helps me out a lot that way. And it's more organized, so I know what I'm looking for and where I can find it more easily. Now let's take a look at the individual seeds so you can know what it is that you're saving. So when you pull it apart, guys, you can see the little tiny parts in there. Each of those individual ones would actually be a seed, and that's what you're just going to sprinkle lightly when you plant them in the spring. And I'm going to have a pollinator video where I actually planted these from seed to show you in the growing season, so we can go over and take a look step by step to see everything that I did to get them to where they were and whatever tips that came up with that. So be sure to follow along with me so that when that comes about. So I go in at this point and I just seal the bag off, but not completely tight, because if for any reason it needs to dry out a little bit, we'll want to make sure that it can still do that. Now let's talk about saving money. So when you go into your garden center, well at least at mine, typically they have the flats like these where you maybe have like 9 plants in a flat, or sometimes you may have 12 depending on the size of it there. Last season they were going for $13.98. So if you can sow your own seeds, then you're saving yourself some money. Over here, these ones are a little bit larger. These are actually the 4-inch containers, and these ones were for $1.98. And these were the African marigolds here, and these were also for the same $1.98 at my garden center. Not only just saving the money, but guys, if you have, and this is not just for marigolds, for any plant or vegetable that you grow, if you have one that did really well in terms of it was very healthy, or you just like the way it came out, the variety or whatever, it's always good to go in and save your seeds. So you save money, but you also get to put back something that you like. What I will say though is not to put them back in the same place every year. Kind of like switch them around a little bit, try something else in that area and something else in the other area, because you basically, when you put everything in different areas over time, you get a break from any pests and diseases that may come about because they've gotten so used to the area, and also the nutrients will, change. So I'm hoping that that helped you in terms of deciding what to do. And at this time, I just wanted to say thank you all so much for supporting me so much for this garden season on my channel. And if you have any questions, be sure to put them in the box below. Whatever way you decide to support me over the upcoming holidays, I certainly appreciate it. If there are topics that you wanted me to discuss, go ahead and let me know in the comments, and I'll be happy to take a look to see what I can do to get those going for you. So I want to thank you so much for watching. Hope you'll come back for my next video and check out my autumn playlist as well. And I do hope to see you in the next video. Thank you so much for watching. Take care.